All right, we're going to continue with some additional practice regarding factoring polynomials. We'll eventually get to what to do with missing terms in like the third example, the third video. But for right now, I just want to continue to look at what we were working on last week. I saw a lot of you making a lot of progress, and these really only get easier with additional practice. So I would really encourage you to be writing down this example as I go through it, pause if needed. And if there's something I write down that you don't understand, please pause the video, hit that ask for help button, and let's get it taken care of, okay? All right, so let's look at our first example. All right, let's say we have the polynomial y equals, let's do x to the fourth plus 6x cubed plus 7x squared minus 6x minus 8. And again, as I've encouraged you to do, I would go ahead and consider, since this is x to the fourth, I know I'm going to have 4 factors. So I'm going to set up 4 sets of parentheses. All right. And again, I'm going to encourage you to be very deliberate about being organized in your work, because there's a lot that's going to go on in this problem. And the more that you can be organized, the less likely you are to make an error, okay? In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put a little space over here where I'm going to list my roots as I come up with them. And I'm going to tell you that the first root is -2. So I'm going to go ahead and put -2 over here. And then we'll start our synthetic division. So we've got 1, 6, 7, -6, and -8. And we know this is a root. I'm positive that it is. So we should end up with a 0 here, but let's go ahead and work through this so that we can break this down into a little bit smaller. So remember, this comes straight down. So we just have a 1 down there. We're going to multiply these two together. The main error I saw you guys making is just small things with positives and negatives. So please take your time doing this so that you can be certain about what you're doing. All right, -2 times 1 is -2. Remember, we're adding these together, so 6 and -2 is 4. -2 times 4 is -8. Adding those together gives us -1. -2 times -1 is +2. Adding those together gives me -4. -2 times -4 is +8. And that does give us 0. Okay. The other thing that I noticed is that some of us are still struggling a little bit with differentiating between roots and factors. So remember that the root is -2, so the factor is going to be x plus 2. It's going to be opposite. So if this is negative, you should see a plus sign here. If this is positive, we'll see a minus sign up here. And I would encourage you to fill in these parentheses as you get your answers. You don't have to, but I think it helps you to keep things organized. All right, let's look for our next root. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set the synthetic division up a little bit. All right, to figure out what to put in here, remember that we want to look for something that goes into the last term. Okay, so in this case, things that go into 4 would be 1 and -1, 2 and -2, or 4 and -4. I've encouraged you just to start with smaller numbers just to make things easier. So I tend to always start with +1. And let's see if that works. If it doesn't, then we'll go back and try something else. All right, bringing down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Adding that gives us 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Adding that gives us 4. 1 times 4 is 4. And we end up with a 0. So we know that positive 1 is a root. Okay, if this is positive 1, then I know my factor is x minus 1. All right, final step then, we've got this is 1x squared plus 5x plus 4. So let's go ahead and simplify that, or factor that, I apologize. So 1 times 4 is 4, middle term is 5. So I need two numbers that multiply to 4 and add up to 5. I think that would just be 4 and 1. So I've got x plus 4 times x plus 1. Now you'll notice these are in parentheses. These are our factors. Okay, just like these are our factors. So I'm just going to take this, put it right up here, take this, and put it right up here. All right, then I can fill in my roots as well. If this is x plus 4, my other root would be negative 4. If this is x plus 1, my fourth root would be negative 1. Okay, the first practice problem I'm going to ask you to do, the work is already done for you. All I'm going to ask you to do is fill in these 4 spots. Can you look at the information that's down here and fill in the correct items? So we're going to try that first, and then we'll come back together to try some additional problems. When you try that problem, make sure you check your answer. If it's incorrect, ask a question or try it again so that you know what mistake you might be making.